you're laughed at, you're derided. Reviews are unkind. They're often sexually inappropriate. Record company executives treat you like you're a stupid bimbo. Magazine photographers, really in the early 80s, expected you to get into sexual poses or try to encourage that, try to elicit that.
They ruled the 80s with infectious pop hits and platinum records. They were the most successful female group of all time. But behind the glitter and the chart-topping success, there was a toxic war brewing, one involving sexist producers, bitter fallouts, and vodka-fueled nights that would inspire one of television's most iconic sitcoms. And here's the wildest part. Despite selling millions of records and dominating airwaves worldwide, they never had a single #1 hit in their own country. Yeah, you heard that right. Not one. This is the untold story of Bananarama, and trust me, it's messier than you think. London, 1981. 3 young women, Sarah Dallin, Karen Woodward, and Siobhan Fahey, decide they're going to form a band.
We were just friends and we all went out together and just to discos and things, and we all wanted to sing, so we thought, why not?
No formal training, no grand plan, just pure punk attitude and a refusal to play by anyone's rules. They named themselves Bananarama, and from day one, they make it clear they're not here to be anybody's puppets.
Our first single was sung in Swahili, and so to think of something tropical to go with that, we thought of bananas because we like eating them.
Sarah Dallin, born on December 17, 1961.
Karen Woodward, born on April 2, 1961, had been friends since childhood.
Siobhan Fahey joined them, and together, they created something electric. They weren't trying to be perfect. They were trying to be real, raw, and unapologetically themselves in an industry that wanted to mold women into whatever sold best. And it worked. By the mid-80s, Bananarama was everywhere. Their sound was infectious, their energy undeniable, and the hits just kept coming. In 1983, they dropped Cruel Summer, and it became an international smash. The song captured that perfect mix of melancholy and joy that defined their music. Then came 1986, and with it, their biggest weapon, Venus. Now here's something most people don't know. This wasn't their original song. It was a cover of a 1969 hit by the Dutch band Shocking Blue. But Bananarama took that classic and transformed it into something entirely their own, injecting it with 80s synth magic and an irresistible groove. Venus exploded. It hit #1 in the United States, dominating radio stations and MTV. Other hits like I Heard a Rumor, Nah Nah Hey Hey Kiss Him Goodbye, Love in the First Degree, I Want You Back, and Robert De Niro Is Waiting cemented their status as pop royalty. They were selling millions of records, touring the world, and living the dream. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Because while the world saw success and glamour, behind the scenes, Bananarama was fighting battles that would eventually tear them apart. Let's talk about Stock Aitken Waterman, SAW, the legendary production trio that dominated the pop scene. They worked with everyone. Kylie Minogue, Rick Astley, Dead or Alive, and yes, they worked with Bananarama. But according to Siobhan Fahey, working with them was a nightmare drenched in sexism and disrespect. Fahey has been vocal about what she endured in those studios. She described an environment where she and her bandmates were constantly sidelined, disregarded, and not taken seriously.
Reviews are unkind. They're often sexually inappropriate. Record company executives treat you like you're a stupid bimbo.
One particularly disturbing incident involved producer Matt Aitken making a lewd comment about Karen Woodward's body over the studio talkback button, a system meant for communication between the control room and the recording booth. Imagine being in a professional workspace and having someone degrade you like that, knowing everyone can hear it. But it wasn't just that one moment. The tension between Fahey and producer Pete Waterman became so unbearable that she couldn't even be in the studio at the same time as him. The atmosphere was toxic, the arguments constant, and the disrespect relentless.
They were the only people, apart from my mum, who would call me Peter. It was their way of telling me that they were the boss. I was once arrested because the girls set off a hotel fire alarm and told the police I was their dad.
Yes, true.
Did you do that?
Boston. Yes.
Yeah.
And this wasn't unique to SAW. Bananarama faced sexism across the entire music industry. They were excluded from major projects simply because they were women. One glaring example, the 1984 Band Aid record, Do They Know It's Christmas? The lineup was dominated by male artists, and despite Bananarama's massive success and influence, they were left out. The message was clear. The boys' club wasn't interested in sharing space.
It's very much a boys' club. It certainly was when we started, and I imagine prior to that. And it still, to some extent, is. And I think it should change. I'd hate the way women are sidelined. Oh, you're too young, you're too old, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this. It's just nonsense.
Pete Waterman later acknowledged the band's defiance, describing them as punks who were not prepared to be manipulated by any man. He admitted that Fahey was the feistiest of the group and that arguments were a daily occurrence. But here's the thing. Framing a woman standing up for herself as difficult is a tale as old as time. Fahey wasn't being difficult. She was refusing to be disrespected. By 1988, after recording the album Wow, Siobhan Fahey had reached her breaking point. She left Bananarama, and the departure was nothing but amicable.
I was in the band for 7 years and we were really close friends, so when I started feeling like that, they knew about it and we tried to all stick with it, and they knew for a couple of years that I wasn't happy with things. So they were relieved, really.
There was a fallout with Sarah Dallin and Karen Woodward, tension that would simmer for years. Fahey didn't fade into obscurity, though. She immediately formed a new duo called Shakespeare's Sister, later bringing in Marcella Detroit.
And he introduced me to an old girlfriend of his called Marcella Detroit.
And guess what? They had massive success too, proving that Fahey's talent and vision were never the problem. The environment she was forced to work in was. Meanwhile, Sarah Dallin and Karen Woodward weren't about to let Bananarama die. They replaced Fahey with Jackie O'Sullivan and kept the momentum going.
And it didn't look as good when we were standing, just the two of us, like dancing and things. And then Sarah just suddenly brought up Jackie's name and we just thought, fabulous.
But the magic wasn't quite the same. By 1991, O'Sullivan left the group and Dallin and Woodward decided to continue as a duo. They kept recording, kept performing, but the original spark, that raw, rebellious energy from the early days, has shifted. Here's one of the wildest footnotes in Bananarama's history. Their love of partying during the 80s, those legendary vodka-fueled nights, actually inspired one of Britain's most beloved sitcoms, Absolutely Fabulous. Jennifer Saunders, the show's star and writer, accompanied the band on some of their wildest binges and used those experiences as creative fuel for the show's outrageous characters. The chaos, the excess, the pure hedonism, it all made it into the script. So Bananarama's legacy isn't just in their music, it's in the cultural DNA of British comedy too. But let's circle back to that shocking statistic I mentioned at the beginning. Despite being one of the most successful pop groups of the 1980s and the most successful all-female group in history, Bananarama never had a UK #1 single or album. Not once. They conquered America with Venus. They dominated charts around the world. But in their home country, that elusive #1 spot always stayed just out of reach. How does that even happen? How does a group this massive, this influential, this beloved never hit the top spot at home? It's one of music's strangest paradoxes, a reminder that success doesn't always follow a logical path. For years, the original trio remained fractured. Fahey focused on Shakespeare's sister. Dallin and Woodward kept Bananarama as a duo. The tension from 1988 lingered like a ghost. But then, in April 2017, something unexpected happened. Sarah Dallin, Karen Woodward, and Siobhan Fahey announced they were reuniting for a tour. The news sent shockwaves through pop culture. Mainstream media jumped on it immediately. They appeared on BBC Breakfast and The One Show, fielding questions about their past, their fallout, and what it meant to come back together after nearly 30 years of separation.
I mentioned that, yes, in an
Yes, there
interview.
were
That was
wails.
one of many things.
What
Siobhan left
happened?
her pizza on the floor, and
On the
this was in
floor?
our council flat.
The reunion wasn't just about nostalgia. It was about reconciliation, healing, and acknowledging the shared history that connected them. They had survived an industry designed to chew women up and spit them out. They had faced sexism, sabotage, and scrutiny. And they had come out the other side, still standing, still fighting, still creating. In recent interviews, Fahey has continued to speak openly about the sexism she experienced, ensuring that younger generations understand what women in the music industry endured, and in many cases, still endure. Her willingness to name names and call out bad behavior has sparked important conversations about power dynamics in creative spaces.
Magazine photographers, really in the early 80s, expected you to get into sexual poses.
Today, Sarah Dallin and Karen Woodward continue to perform as Bananarama, keeping the legacy alive for fans old and new. They've released new music, toured internationally, and proven that their influence extends far beyond the 80s. Their catalog remains a masterclass in pop perfection, hooks that burrow into your brain and refuse to leave. As for their net worth, estimates place Sarah Dallin and Karen Woodward each around $5 million, a testament to their enduring success and decades of work in the industry. Siobhan Fahey's net worth is estimated at around $10 million, bolstered by her success with Shakespeare's sister and continued creative projects. So, what's the real story of Bananarama? It's not just about the hits, though those are undeniable. It's about 3 women who refused to be controlled, who fought for respect in a world that didn't want to give it to them, and who created a sound that defined an entire generation. It's about surviving betrayal, navigating fallout, and finding a way back to each other despite everything. They were punks wrapped in pop packaging, rebels with synthesizers, fighters who sang about love and heartbreak while battling an industry determined to keep them in their place. Bananarama proved that success doesn't always look the way you expect, that you can sell millions of records and still be denied the recognition you deserve, that the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to stay silent about the injustices you face.